The views expressed in this presentation are those of the host and guests and do not represent the views of any lodge, Grand Lodge, appended body, or any other person or persons whomsoever.
Brothers, we are at Refreshment.
I'll sit in the corner and look cool and be like, what up? That's me.
I don't want to talk about you either, Marty, but here we are.
Just because my style isn't death.
I truly regret this already.
I regret this.
The 10 of your faithful press.
Oh man, it is great. I can feel this.
That's assuming anybody even watches the podcast.
Yeah. The 5 minutes that I watched, I really did enjoy it.
Welcome to the A.F A.M from Masonic Video Podcast. Once again, I'm your host, Wesley Reuter, past master, finally, of Raven Lodge number 303. Glad to be out of the East. Speaking of that, we've got...
Will Anfeld, newly installed Worshipful Master of Elmhurst Lodge number 941.
Yeah, he's not going to let that go anytime soon.
Nope, never. And every one of you bastards are there.
Far left?
Marty, past Master Villa Park Lodge, current secretary, past Monarch Shio Grotto. Too many things. Yoshi?
Same. Yoshi, Villa Park Lodge, past Master of Villa Park Lodge, number 1113, past Excellent High Priest of Keystone Chapter.
Current Excellent High Priest of Keystone Grotto.
You know, past this, past that, but we're gonna pass it over to.
And our guest, we have...
Joe Ferrell, past master of Azure Lodge 1153 and LaGrange Lodge 770.
Awesome.
Member of a couple other lodges and honorary of a handful more.
Wait, were you master of those individually before they merged?
I was.
Oh wow! Okay.
That's actually a weird flex. Like at
Yeah,
first,
that
I thought you were like claiming them separate.
Yeah,
like this
like-
is they merged. Like I was, but that's that's
Separate,
interesting.
And actually, I did. I stepped out of line at Azure to get in line at LaGrange when Barry Weir was coming in as Grand Master because LaGrange had a few problems back then.
Oh.
And
Wait, let me guess. Someone tried to come and take the charter.
I was there.
Yeah, I was there for that.
and so I went in line there as master, and then Azure was generous enough to let me come back into line the following year and be master of Azure, which was, of course, where I was raised.
Awesome. Oh, that's cool. Yeah.
You forgot your most important
Yeah, I feel
and
like
current
you
title.
Yeah,
might
the
have
most
there
important
might be another
current.
title
Well, I don't know if it's the
somewhere.
most important. I think Master of the Lodge is probably the most important.
Well,
Well, it's important while you're on this damn show.
That is such a PC answer. Tell me you're a Grand Lodge officer. Stop giving credit to the little people.
Apparently Senior Grand Warden for the Grand Lodge of Illinois.
Woo!
Thank you for coming on. It's been a long time wanted to have you on, or a Grand Lodge officer, or a Grand Lodge commander and all that. We've been dying to have you guys on, so thank you for coming.
Oh, you're welcome. It's
Greatly
fun to be
appreciate
here.
it.
Shout out to Pat Robin, the
And
Grand Officer.
I just got
always
done
gets
watching the
forgotten.
previous interview, so I'm probably slightly less worried about what I'm going to be asked. John did a very nice job with his stuff. I hope I can live up to it.
Yeah,
I'm glad you saw that episode already that was not recorded the same day.
Oh, no,
You know,
not
the
at
same
all.
night.
Yeah,
And
Joe
then-
is
and
on-
John is already gone.
Yeah, Joe is
Him
a
and his lovely
repeat
family
visitor
have
of
already
the
left.
podcast, often out in the crowd cheering us on.
No.
Can I give away the magic of podcast here?
I know.
Yeah, dude. You know, if they can't tell, they can't. You know.
Dude, but actually with our releasing schedule, your Senior Grand Warden right now, it might have been blurred over Grand Master by the time we put an episode out with our editing process.
Hey, I've been doing pretty
Wes
good.
has been doing a pretty
Yes,
okay
you have
job.
been doing better. Wes. I will give you that.
Yeah. I mean,
Joe, tell us a little bit about yourself.
please.
Well, I'm 6'1", 230. Oh, you mean Masonically?
I don't want you to lie now.
Well, as I said earlier, I'm currently the Senior Grand Warden for the state of Illinois, and it's an honor and a privilege to do it. I am mostly retired. I had a family business that we sold some years ago, and now I just kind of trade for myself and try and muddle through the day. There's really not much to tell. It's kind of a boring, dull existence. Outside of Masonry, you know, I've got a fantastic girlfriend, and that's where
That's bullcrap.
that's it.
Follow him on Facebook. It's something but fine meals and cigars and Blackhawk games.
Yeah.
Oh, too much, yeah.
Yeah. I
I
would love
these
to have
coy
that.
answers.
It's very dull. It's very dull.
Eating a steak off the lake shore, yeah, no problem.
Well, I do enjoy a good cigar, and a good steak.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do. I know. We've smoked many cigars together and everything. So, so why did you become a Freemason?
I was sitting at one of my buddies' houses one afternoon. I think it was probably a Saturday, and his grandfather came out. He was a World War II vet, and he was real active with the American Legion. And he said, "Hey, you guys want to go have a beer?" Well, sure. We're never going to pass up a free beer.
Sure.
So we went over, and we were sitting there, and a couple of his buddies who were also veterans plopped down at the bar, and they were Freemasons, and we started talking. And you know him, Vic from Lodge, and Al, who's since passed away. But we started talking, and it kind of hit a spot. I liked what I heard, and about 2 hours later, I had a petition in my hand. And
Oh, they always
Masonic
get
form.
you.
So you learned about Freemasonry just like I did at a bar, right?
It's the best place to learn.
I mean, you know, there's a reason for everything. You know,
Tis the season, right? All right, if you haven't noticed, it is Christmas time around here. Forgot to mention
Really?
that. Yeah, 2 weeks ago I forgot to mention that.
You wouldn't know by
I didn't know.
Yes.
I think the audience put 2 and 2 together.
Oh, I didn't know. man.
Really? I
I
don't know. Could have been something else.
thought the
Anyways.
4th of July was coming up right now.
So, being a Freemason and a past master of 2 wonderful lodges, why did you decide to get in the Grand Line?
Well, it was kind of unintentional, intentional. I was district deputy, which was a job that I didn't necessarily want at the time. At the time, Herb Lindbergh was getting ready to retire as district deputy for the 10th Northeast, and he approached me and said, "Hey, I want you to kind of take over and do this." I said, "No, I don't want to." He asked me 2 or 3 more times, and I finally said, "Okay, fine." And I did it, and I loved it, and I was, it was one of the best times I've had as a Mason. And then a few years passed, and Herb Lindbergh again, I owe him a lot of something. He goes, "Why don't you just put your name in for Junior Grand Deacon? It's that time of year." I go, "No, I really don't want that." He goes, "No, don't worry about it. You won't get it. But they'll know you want it. And, a few more years, they'll know your name." And lo and behold, I got it.
You got it. And they
That's
gave
funny.
you the job.
And
The first time up.
First time up.
That's awesome.
Wow. Yeah.
I don't think there were a heck of a lot of candidates my year.
Yeah, so explain that. You have to apply for that?
You do. Every year right before the second year of a Grandmaster's term, we send out a call for resumes. So you just give a personal resume, a Masonic resume, you send them all in, and we do an interview process about a month or so before Grand Lodge, and we interview everybody. The last 2 or 3 interview cycles, we had an embarrassment of riches. We really did not have any bad candidates. I mean, it was really tough. We had a hell of a time narrowing it down to the guys we picked. Nobody was bad. They were all fantastic, and that doesn't always happen. We have a great group of Masons out there who want to be involved in the Grand Line and want to improve Masonry in the state of Illinois.
That's awesome.
So it's a darn good problem to have.
Yeah, for real.
So aside from Herb kind of twisting your arm a little bit, and what was it about kind of jumping into the Grand Line that appealed to you?
I guess it was just an opportunity to learn. Really, I know that's probably kind of a little corny, but there's a lot more to being a Grand Lodge officer than just going to meetings once a month in Springfield or going to lodges and doing the ceremonial things. What a lot of people don't realize is, we are a very large corporation, and there's 5 of them, or 6 of them actually now. We have the Grand Lodge and our Charities, and these are $100 million entities. The Charities are very, very, very big part of our time. Takes a lot of board time because we have a lot of rules that we have to govern through and IRS standards, and it's a lot of boring, dull stuff, but it's part of being the job.
Right.
So my intent was to learn, and I'm getting a bigger education than I ever thought I could.
Yeah, so like going into the position, were you expecting it more to be like more kind of Masonry as you know it, or did you kind of go into it knowing that you're really sort of almost getting into like the business side of Masonry?
No, I truly expected it to be more ceremonial, just showing up at lodges, doing rededications. and just the receptions, the Grand Master, the kind of the fun stuff.
Yeah. Not necessarily having to worry about balance sheets.
Exactly.
Right.
So, how has being in the Grand Line changed your view of Freemasonry, or has it?
Yeah, it has. You see a lot of bad things. Unfortunately, you see the problems we have.
Yeah.
But that is really a very small part. But you see so much great stuff. You see wonderful brothers who help each other, who go out of their way, that bend over backwards. You see the friendships that grow. I mean, the guys that I'm in line with in the Grand Lodge line, I mean, I'm so close to all these guys now. I mean, these are guys I didn't know 6 years ago. Not a clue who most of these guys were, except
I
for
find
maybe.
that interesting because everything you said about them off camera was.
Well, that was just Dave Lynch I was talking about. But no, we're like a small little family within a big family. It's amazing how close you come. The amount of travel you do, just the amount of time you spend with these guys. You can't help but to become close. Right. And that is just a fantastic part of being a Grand Lodge officer and traveling the state. Yeah. You know, Illinois is enormous. You really don't necessarily realize it.
Oh, yeah.
And varied.
Yeah.
Yes. I mean, it's 7-8 hours from tip to tip.
Yeah.
3-4 hours across. I mean, so you do travel a lot. I mean, I think I put over 30,000 miles a year on my car visiting lodges in other parts of the state, and I've made so many good friends. You know, and some that drag you into podcasts, kicking and screaming. But
you know, I'm glad you brought you brought up the good parts of Masonry and everything.
I'm glad you pointed at me when you said good parts of Freemasonry.
Well, no, but when you said
if
it changed your outlook and everything, and you were saying that you see some of the bad but there's still a lot of good. Is a lot of times you see so many people focusing on the bad stuff, and it's and the good stuff like here's like just a little bit of the bad, and then you got all of this of the good, and and it's just in society it's just terrible. It's like everybody wants to focus on this little corner instead of the big table in front of you of the good stuff, and that I'm glad that you put it the way you put it.
Any organization, I think you're going to run into having some of the bad, but again, Masonry as a whole is really an organization that truly does care about, I think, its members. We don't always do a good job of showing that, not as a Grand Lodge or even as individual lodges, but as men. We go on Facebook, and yes, I'm going to own up. I've been guilty of stupid stuff on Facebook. I think I've learned my lesson on that. I understand that my opinions and other people's opinions aren't going to jive. So you know what? Keep it to yourself. Yeah. But I see so much of just antagonistic attack behavior on Facebook and other social media platforms. And, if anything is going to really be the downfall of not just Masonry, but I think fraternal organizations as a whole, it's going to be social media. We've got to learn to subdue that.
Yep.
And again, I'm not casting stones because I'm guilty.
We've all been guilty of it.
I think we're all guilty of it. Yeah.
And it is true. We've talked about it before on camera and off camera. A lot of brothers have forgot their obligations, and a lot of brothers need to remember their obligations. Remember the oaths that we all swore on that altar.
But everybody sees it in a different light. Well,
it's true. No, it's true. It is true.
Because there's some things in Freemasonry that are up to interpretation of how you conduct yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, we've gotten crap for this show.
It's true.
They're not real Masons because that's what they think. But
no, it's funny is that there's Group A who love us. And there's Group B that are just like, no, that's not it. That's not the way,
Let's be honest. As far as Masonic turmoil on Facebook, if someone took away Carl Hearn's page, 90% of the argument would be gone.
Oh, dude.
I bought a lot of shirts. I could say it.
But I mean, it's the struggle with social media in our fraternity is unfortunately one that is, I think, a lot more difficult to tackle than anybody realizes.
That's why I'm saying we should bring back fax machines. Like, hey, don't put out don't put out an event.
We've had that conversation.
Did you really?
Yeah.
It's amazing.
Hey, I still have a fax machine in my home. I have 3 landlines, a cell phone, and a fax machine. So I'm as old school as I get.
But if we bring the fax machine back, my educations are going to change from going to lodges and teaching half the lodge what the internet is to now I'll have to teach the other half the lodge what a fax machine is.
Dude, half the lodge wouldn't even. They're like, "What is that?"
Yeah.
They probably think it's new.
Actually, that's kind of like a weird thing, though. My house is full of fax machines. That's either like you have like a really nice house and your life is together, or you have a really crappy house and your life isn't together. That only goes two ways.
Pleading the fifth.
So does social media, the conduct of the brethren, come up at Grand Lodge?
It does, and as a matter of fact, Grandmaster Jackson has put together, or has started to put together some topics to discuss at our upcoming Masonic town halls this year.
Okay.
And
Oh, that's great.
under his direction, we're going to try and touch on trying to remind ourselves of how we really need to be out in public. And again,
Good.
That's all of us.
Good. I totally back that. That's good.
So town halls are back this year, by the way. So get
Full blown.
full blown. So get your questions
Awesome.
ready.
Awesome.
The town halls are always, and for any Mason at home that's watching that hasn't been to a town hall, it's generally where your lead officials will sit in a pretty much open format, similar to this, but there's about 100 brothers in the room, and they get to ask pretty much whatever questions they want.
That's it.
And
you
the
get some wild ones,
questions,
too,
the questions
sometimes.
always span from like, "Wow, I never thought of that. I'm glad he said it," to like, "Whoa, he really just said that." Yeah. Okay, this is a rough question because all of us do this. So, and I'll throw this at you because all of us go to Grand Lodge. I go because it's fun because I haven't sat these in a while, but I still proxy. I go because I love seeing everybody.
Sure. Yeah, it's a fun time.
I like to know the scuttlebutt of what's going on, so I like to be up to date on things. Who always sits there, though, and waits for that one moment where you see a guy walking up to the mic on the floor and you know he's just about to say it? You're like, all right, show's on.
Wait, where's my popcorn? Hold on, here we go.
And I know you guys have to take it so diplomatically and make a straight face, but blink twice if you're having as much fun with the nut jobs as we are, I guess.
I don't know if my eyes blinked or not. But,
No, we got it. We got it.
If you want, I mean, I'm not going to get into everything that was at Grand Lodge, but at least as long as I've been going, have you ever seen the brethren erupt as they did during that one vote?
no. In principle, it's a good bylaw amendment. It was just not executed and written in a well. And I think even the presenters of that particular bylaw admit that, and they're going to work on it.
Wait, we're talking about the thing this past Grant.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, I wasn't there. I heard, and we've kind of all agreed upon that too. We were like, it's in the heart of it. There's good in it,
Oh my
but it
God,
just was
the actual
not.
message of it was great.
It just was not
You can't,
presented
you
well.
can't argue with the fact that bad people shouldn't be a Mason.
It's true.
The
No,
problem
it's
is how you define bad people becomes
Yeah.
so impossibly vague.
Yes.
It's hard.
Well,
You gotta look at it like
certain principles and everything, but it's just really hard with, especially how, Napoleon, for example, he was a Freemason. None of us liked Napoleon, but yet he was still a brother.
You know what though? You want to touch on
I
that?
thought you were about to back him to like, oh, I'm a Napoleon guy.
No. You want to back that though? Like I get what you're saying. If you really think about it, all the stupidity that goes on Facebook and all of social media and brothers arguing. I mean, think about it. Okay,
Could be the Napoleon of social media.
Think about the Alamo. Okay, think about the Revolutionary War. Think about Napoleon being, a Freemason. Think about all the wars that happened, and each side had Freemasons on there, and these brothers are killing each other, but still at the end of the day, they see that they're a brother, and they're still like, "You all right?
There's
we'll
a
call
story.
it."
I don't know if it's really true. That supposedly dates back to World War I, where somewhere around Christmas, the German side of the line. And
Oh
and
no,
British
the
side
Christmas
line,
truce. No, that is true.
Yeah.
That is a true thing.
That's true.
Yeah.
There was a lot of Masonic influence in that, from what I've gathered.
Oh, see, I never heard that.
Now, that being
Okay.
said, I haven't done any fact checking. on
Right,
that,
right,
and I'm
right.
sure there's probably members of our fraternity that would probably be calling up if we had phones to tell me I'm wrong.
Oh yeah, well,
Yeah, but you can even go back to the Civil War, and there's
Which state has that actual statue about Masonry and the Civil War and Brotherhood through all. It's out there. I've seen photos of it.
Oh yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
It's like with the two soldiers embracing with
isn't
the
that at
Union and
Gettysburg? Isn't that where that's
Yeah, I
at
think
or
it's
something?
somewhere on the East Coast.
I want to say Pennsylvania, but
Yeah, that sounds about right.
that might
You know
be
what's one of
wrong.
my favorite legends? You know,
It's not like
we're
we have
talking
computers
about
in our
like
pockets
stuff
to
like
find
that.
out.
Is the Alamo that supposedly they they say it's a legend or whatever that the Santa Ana was a Freemason, and a lot of the fighters at the Alamo were Freemasons, and Davy Crockett was a Freemason. Supposedly, the way the legend goes is that before Davy Crockett was to be executed, he did the Grand Hailing sign, and somebody in the crowd, soldiers or generals or whatever, stopped everything. And supposedly he lived out the rest of his life in Mexico, but to never return here again or whatever. I read that there's so many weird legends like that.
At first, he was asking you, do you talk about this at Grand Lodge?
No, I'm just saying it's one of my favorite little stories.
the Grand Lodge's stance in General Santa Ana.
I can tell you, Davy Crockett's bones from Mexico have been transplanted and are next to the Knights Templar treasure hoard.
Yes! You lied to me, John!
Yeah, I voted on last week.
Yes!
I mean,
Awesome.
does the Grand Lodge know where Tupac is?
No comment.
I knew it.
Yeah, where are Washington's bones, anyways?
George Washington's?
It's underneath the
Next to
floor.
Joe's fax machines.
Oh, we went on that tour. They said it ain't there in the center.
Which tour? At
Remember?
House of Temple?
No, at the Capitol. Remember we were at the center thing? The center thing was supposed to be like his tomb.
Are you talking about the George Washington Masonic Memorial?
Never mind.
The bones are actually 33 feet below us right here in the Travel Club.
Exactly 33 feet.
Exactly.
He's like, I want to be buried under Manny's Ale House when that comes around.
But here, he was on his deathbed. Here, these are the coordinates that you need to put this. Why do you want to be buried somewhere random in Illinois?
Don't worry. It's all going to make sense.
Yeah, don't worry.
You don't know
All
it now,
part of the
but
conspiracy
I'm
theory.
going to have Refreshment Masonic Video Podcast fan. All right. Well, with that, we're going to have to take a break, and we'll be right back.
Ship boing, boing, boing.
Oh, gosh, yes. Where am I? All right, yeah, we're back. So,
Dude, is the headband bothering you? Is it squeezing?
It doesn't have the things
wanna
in here to
switch?
poke my head. No. I don't know what kind of lice you have.
I got it from you.
So I don't know what kind of lice you have.
PSA?
I just went to Walgreens. Shout out Walgreens. They didn't have any Santa hats. I'm like, what the hell? How do you not have Santa hats?
They're still on a ship waiting to get unloaded.
Yeah, they're still waiting on the
West Coast.
Well, all right.
I
I ordered some shaving cream and aftershave from Taylor of Old Bond Street. Shout out to them. They're in England.
Pay us.
It got here in a week.
Probably came by plane.
Yeah.
I don't know, but when I order Dr. Squatch soap, man, that takes like 2 months for it to freaking get here, and it's only...
Well, that's
Pay us,
because
Dr. Pay us,
it
Dr.
came in
Squatch.
from the East Coast. If you look at the memes on the social medias, all the problems are over on the West Coast.
Exactly.
So as long as you're coming on the East Coast, you're fine.
They must be fans of the show. And like,
They
that.
are.
There's actually there's a lot of truth to that. I'm in logistics, but that's a whole other story.
You know what? No, actually, I got some inside stuff. We'll talk later.
Oh,
I've
inside.
heard some things and stuff.
So speaking of traveling and stuff like that, as being a Grand Line officer, have you had to travel out of state for anything yet?
Yeah, I've been to several foreign jurisdictions' annual communications, which
Are you allowed to say which ones they are?
I've been to Ohio a couple times, Michigan, Indiana. They're all great. It comes back to that being able to meet people that you never would have met.
Yeah.
And this year was my first year going to Most Worshipful Prince Hall's Grand Lodge here in Illinois.
That's awesome.
Oh, nice. Nice.
That was a blast. They're great guys.
Oh yeah, the best.
Made some friends with my counterparts from other jurisdictions, from other Prince Hall jurisdictions.
Good.
Great.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be great to talk shop with them, you know?
It is, and what's fun about going to foreign jurisdictions is to see how different we are, yet how similar we are. And plus we've had some conferences of Grand Masters I've gotten to go to, and just those kind of odds and ends. But traveling is great only because, again, making friends and meeting people.
Yeah.
It's what makes all the dull 6-7 hour drives around the state worthwhile.
Yeah.
There's a lot of corn in Illinois.
Yeah. The 9 to 5 meeting, it gets the job done. You learn some stuff, but that 5 to 9 dinner, that's when the fun kicks
all
in.
the good gossip comes out.
Oh,
yeah, it's always.
Yeah. We always talk about that too, about like going to different jurisdictions and everything, different states, and it amazes me how similar it is, but there's just that little bit that's like when you're about to do what you think you're supposed to do, and then they pull something else, and it's like, wait a minute.
Vegas 32. I love you guys. You do your do-guards really weird.
There are some that they get all three going, and I don't know what they're doing. It's
there are some things and some stuff.
It's nuts.
Yeah, I know when somebody's from a different jurisdiction or out of the country because they stand up and they go through all the do-guards and signs before they start speaking.
Yeah.
I'm like,
Oh, then they got the people that stay at Fidelity all the time, and like I always hate when I'm around people from another jurisdiction where they do add more steps. So I'm like, ooh, I might listen to that.
see, because at first I'm like, is there something wrong with his heart? Is he okay? Is he feeling all right? I mean, should we be checking in on him?
Yeah.
Well, I had no idea. I mean, this is when I first joined. So
Wes is trying to give the guy a baby aspirin.
Well, no,
Break into the Templar wine. He needs some.
The funniest thing I ever saw though was a guy from another country come in the lodge, and when they collected the pass, and he gave his version of the pass, and that was the funniest thing. Is like the guy was like, huh?
Yeah, that was.
Yeah, that was funny.
Yoshi, that would have been even better when you said the funniest thing I ever saw was a guy from another country. Then you just stopped. I'm like, Yoshi with the hot takes tonight.
I don't want to end up on Mason's behaving badly.
Not to try to bring it back or anything, but Joe, you've been through. You mentioned the interview process to get into the Grand Line. You've now gone through a couple of appointments. You've made it through a few elections. For anybody at home or even around the table that might one day want to think about getting into the Grand Lodge, what kind of advice would you give them?
He's asking for himself. just address your questions to Will.
The advice is be prepared to listen, but be more prepared to ask questions. I know that sounds a little strange, but that's why we have 4 years of appointed positions as the senior and junior deacons. That's your listening period. But also, in the most recent years, the deacons are more free to ask questions than they used to be. In the old days, of course, it was kind of like a benevolent dictator. The Grand Master said, we'll have a meeting when we want a meeting, and when I want your opinion, I'll tell you.
When I want a real Mason's opinion, I'll ask one of the other guys.
So you've been to one of my meetings as worshipful, huh?
The tyrants already.
So the advice is just listen, learn, ask questions, and be prepared to go through 2 or 3 cars.
Yeah. I got a question for you. Are you a turtle?
No. Oh. I know.
I am no longer the only one in the state.
Oh, you're not a turtle
I am not a turtle either.
Wait, what?
How did
I thought I initiated you.
This guy's a land lover? Oh.
That seems wrong. We should fix that. So
Yeah, we got to fix that.
My failure as a prophet is really your failures as monarchs.
Well, I'm not a monarch yet.
I like that.
Neither am I. I'm not a monarch.
All right, no, we're going to fix that. We're going to fix that.
Break from being in
We're
the
going to
East.
fix that. We're going to fix that.
Just a total break.
All right. But I think we've done enough softball questions with Joe here.
Yeah,
we've made jokes, talked about his fax machines, ordered some shots.
Let's take the gloves off now.
Yeah, let's. So,
How's
Joe.
the lawnmower?
Joe, we're as an organization, I don't think we're dying. I think the world's just changing. I'm a big believer in this one book written by Robert Putnam called Bowling Alone, that how a lot of social organizations have withered for the most part. And I always say Masonry might be shrinking, but I know we're doing better than a lot of people. And I hate to throw another group under the bus, but Monday we had a grotto meeting adjacent to a Lions meeting. And that was a sad thing to witness, but that was a whole other story.
The Lions meeting or the gathering together?
Well, the grotto meeting had its own issues, but it was more on the Lions. But we are we're an interesting organization because we're not Sam's Club. We don't sell memberships. We have to have the right men involved. Long term, you're going to be in this, going through these chairs for the better part of a decade still.
Yep.
How do we reset the course to growing again?
You know, if there was a simple answer, a lot of smarter people than I would have come up with it.
True.
I don't know that I want to say we're dying, but I think we're heading that renaissance period. I really do. You know, the pandemic, while causing a lot of problems and a lot of headaches, I was heartened to see the amount of work that our lodges had backed up and the amount of lodges that participated in the Grand Masters Festival when Grandmaster Oakley did it right before October.
He did 5, correct?
Correct, one in each region, or each area rather.
Okay.
We did well with that, but it can't be just about making bodies.
Yeah.
It has to be making quality.
Yeah.
And why all fraternal organizations, I think, are suffering right now is because everyone wants instant gratification right now.
Right.
And that's where I think we're losing that quality.
Okay.
So I think it behooves, or I think it's upon all of us that we really need to truly be out there explaining what Masonry is and the positive. We need to get away from that social media abuse of each other that we talked about before, and just focus on what makes us brothers, what makes it fun for me to sit at this table with you guys, have my Miller Lite, or as Lenny Svoboda would say, my girlfriend.
God bless you, Lenny.
Oh wait, Miller Lite, pay us.
And just be able to have real conversations, not worry about being judged, and not want to take the easy route.
Yeah.
And by that I mean learn a lecture. Now I'm not a ritualist, but I know what I know. And the master of my lodge is standing over there, probably shaking his head, cringing at my ramblings here. But he's taken the time. He's a good example of someone who's taken the time. He's gone through the chairs. He's put in the work, and that's what we need. And I think if we do that, we'll be able to attract and retain quality. And without quality, we're the what's the Catholic group? The
Knights of Columbus.
The Knights of Columbus.
Well, they just got thrown under the bus pretty hard.
Yeah, I know, right?
Which Catholic group are you talking about?
And before anyone yells, I am Catholic, so it's all right.
See, I knew I liked you, Joe. I knew I liked you.
Recently,
The Pope's a fan. You're not a Catholic anymore.
So recently, SNL did a skit that kind of got picked up with a lot of different opinion piece news articles. The whole concept of it was Man Park, where it was some type of dog park where wives can bring their husbands to meet other men because of the general issue. I didn't know this was an issue, but I guess some guys have trouble knowing guys in their adult lives. And to me, I'm like, I got like 88 best friends between all the different organizations I'm in, and sitting in a room like this is 4 or 5 nights a week for me.
Yep.
Yeah. Well, no, dude, the problem
How
with
do we
everything is...
communicate that we have that solution? Because I'm seeing these articles. I didn't mean to cut you off, Yoshi. I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
But I'm seeing these articles written, and I think Washington Post did a decent commentary on it, like how this is something that really affects men. I'm like, dude, how do I write all these news organizations where I'm like, I have the cure to all of this?
I didn't see that particular Saturday Night Live skit, but so I don't have a real good frame on it.
Yeah.
But this might be slightly off, but Masonry is kind of a strange beast. I come back to Herb Lindbergh, who got me into all this, or at least into my Grand Lodge progression. I think if you're up in the Northeast area, you probably know Herb and I are very tight. He is, my father died when I was young. He is kind of like my adopted father in a lot of ways, and I've told him this before.
He's all of our father in a way.
He is.
Yeah, he really, truly is.
He's the cranky father, but he's the father. But he would travel with me when I had to go down south to Cairo, Illinois, or something. He would drive with me to keep me company, and we would do town halls together. And one of the stories I would tell is, where else besides Masonry is a 40-something-year-old going to be able to become really, truly beyond best friends with 70, 80-year-old men or 90-year-old men? I mean, there's other organizations that purport that they do that. We do it.
Yeah.
And that's interesting. When I talk to outsiders about Masonry, I don't focus on the ritual or the esoteric stuff because that's for the initiated. That's for us to enjoy. That's for us to dissect the ritual. When people really talk to me about Masonry, I say it's a social club. The idea is to make good men better. And we do that by breaking down every social norm that would separate us. Your financial, your political, your age. That's all out the window, and we kind of learn how to coexist.
Yep.
And going back to the Facebook stuff, the rest of the world's worse than us. We have some issues too. But people are just fighting over like dumb little differences when the idea should be how do we learn to sit together, and we do that so well, and I don't know how to scream it loud enough.
See, the thing is, though, with going on that, is a lot of times, a lot of people who I see or notice that they argue on social media, but you see them together in the same room, it ain't like that at all. Everyone could get so puffy-chested on the internet, but once we're in the same room together, it's the way it should be. Hey, brother, how are you? How you doing? Shaking hands or whatever, hugging. And it's all because you're not there with that person.
Well, I hate to say it like this. I'm not a scientist, but self-righteous opinions die down pretty quick when there's the potential of getting punched.
That's funny.
Yeah, well, I mean,
the truth.
Social media is just...
It's
ridiculous.
This is
it's a great tool, but it's a terrible tool at the same time. It really, truly
Somewhere
is.
along the lines, we stopped seeing what our aunt and uncles were eating for dinner. We stopped seeing pictures of our kids. We stopped laughing at pictures of cats. And now you got people who are arguing over literally nothing. And they're saying the same thing, but they're finding a way to argue about it. It's like two guys are agreeing that the sky is blue, but one guy's got to put it in capitals so he can be more right than the other guy that's saying the sky is blue. It's like, what are we doing?
I mean, seriously, like honestly, that's what I try to do. Like everything I post, I try to it's me going out with my family, me going out with friends, me going out with you guys, my food I'm eating. I try to make it happy. Like, check this out. Not like
Joe, when you talk to the Grand Master and he's putting out his edict of how people should act on Facebook, just do what Yoshi does.
Oh yeah, because you never post food. You never post, like
I'm just
like
picking
I'm
on
just
you.
a happy little fatty over here.
All right. How about this? Since we're talking about social media again, how do you deal with egos being a Grand Line member? It's a little different now that you have that title.
I noticed John didn't get this kind of questioning.
Well, I was trying to, but there's only so much.
Yeah, we have a template that we
Man, that's
usually
amazing.
never
You remembered that from 2 weeks ago?
Yeah.
I did. But egos, we all got them.
Yeah, we do.
Yeah, we do.
I don't know. I think
For right or for wrong, for better or for worse, we all got them. And, you just got to let people be people.
Yeah.
And you may not agree. You just let them be.
Yeah.
I've developed a bit of a strange take on that. So a lot of people were like, oh, this guy got really upset in lodge and he acted this way or he did this way or he said something stupid. And kind of go back to even that weird, how men as a whole, masculinity, whatever you want to look at it, we don't always know how to express how we're feeling well. And that's something that could be a species flaw, an evolution flaw, I don't know what it is. But I'm like, when people are like, well, this guy acted up, I'm like, yeah, because there's one thing that we all care about is Masonry. And when we get upset about our one weird little thing of it, we don't know how to respond. I'm like, yeah, he may have came off like a bit of an a-hole or he may have upset you, but all you were seeing that dude was get really passionate about something and not know how to tell you it in like a sensitive way. It's actually a positive thing if you if you're like, man, that dude got really pissed. He must love Masonry.
2 weeks ago we saw that on this very show. We saw someone get very passionate about
Two guys, two of them in this state. If you're watching, I want to know who you are. Pop down in the comments.
He's like shaking.
You can find Will on Facebook. Don't leave it in the comments on the show comments.
I used to want to be a Grand Line officer. Now I just want to be one of these two guys at the top. I'm changing all of my goals. Masonry out. I need to get invited into this 2-person club.
Just like I told John, I don't like your chances.
I'm going to find him.
That's funny.
All right, so here's another one I didn't ask John, but now that you're in, is there anything you would like to see change? Not by you or the Grand Master, but by the brethren.
Yeah, actually there is.
Stop asking him stupid questions.
Stop asking. Get me off this show.
I would like to see the brethren's attitude about lodge change. Get back to lodge. Get back to visiting your brothers.
Because of the whole Zoom thing?
Well, but even beyond that, even before Zoom, even before the pandemic, meeting attendance was dropping. People, there's this general lack of caring about showing up to lodge. And I don't know if it's because the lodges aren't offering something fun, they're not offering something great during the meeting, after the meeting, a dinner before the meeting. I don't know what it is. But we've got to get, I would pray that we would get past that lack of caring about the fraternity that we obviously do care about and love because we pay dues.
Yeah.
We most of us proudly have a ring or a pin or 2 rings.
I got a closet full of crap.
You see the brothers with the lapel pins down to their navel with buttons and pins and
North Korean war generals.
Yep.
Jesse Martin, if you're watching, that's a shout out to you, buddy. But just that apathy. Get past it. That's where I want to see our brethren change. I think as fraternal organizations go, we are, and again, this is not just because of the Grand Lodge thing, we are the best fraternal organization out there. We do more than anybody.
Yeah.
I agree with you, 100%.
We are what every other fraternity prays they can become. And if we don't show up to lodge, we don't support our Blue Lodge, we don't learn our ritual, what are we? Are we looking for ritual to be on DVD someday? Have the lectures up there because nobody can do them?
I actually dread that moment.
It's coming if we don't show up and we're not present.
Yeah.
We have to be present in our lodges and in our fraternity.
Yeah, I'm afraid that our lectures and stuff will be on there. But now that you mention it, I would like to see, because sometimes we don't always have the lodge instructor, especially for like prompts when it comes to like turning or grounding your rod or even rod work. I would like to see something like that maybe on like DVD, because if you go to some lodges, they haven't had an instructor and years go there, and they can't do rod work. But
go to a Grand Lecturer school. Go to one of your district officer schools. They exist for a reason. Mm-hmm. They show you. They have the GLs and the CLIs and.
But like, I'll go to that. I know we will go to that. But like some of these remote lodges that.
But I mean, this is another topic that gets me fired up because it falls under like the same guise as why I hate when people crap all over Festival Masons. It's not that there aren't opportunities. It's that lodges will go out of their way collectively to avoid responsibility. There are so many opportunities to learn work. There are so many opportunities to do things in your lodge that will drive people to the lodge. And when a lodge wants to stand up and point a finger at all the reasons nobody's coming to lodge, they always point a finger outward. Oh, it's the appendant body. Oh, it's people are lazy. Oh, it's the festival. It's never, I'm master and my lodge doesn't do anything. That's why people don't show up.
Yeah, I always have a good laugh when people are like this or the other. I'm like, dude, my lodge is jumping right now. I'm not saying we have the best attendance, but there's 20 of us and we seem to be very happy.
Like, you put some effort in and people show up.
The thing I like about our lodge really is we are a jack of all trades lodge. Not all of us are perfect at everything, but everyone knows enough of what they need to do to make everything come together.
But just enough.
I'm saying, I'm not a lecturer, but I mean, I could pretty much do every chair, opening and closing.
Opening and closing, yes, and you can do every chair ritualistically except the Easter lecture.
And then we have the guys who could do the lectures and they know the lectures. Right. And usually we'll have them do that. They won't sit in a chair. Yep. You know what I'm saying? We have enough knowledge to do what we have to do and we get by. Is it perfect? No, but you know what? It works for our lodge.
Yeah. Well, that's works for our lodge's thing. That's what actually every lodge should be doing, a self-inventory. Especially, I don't know if you agree with the show, but when you look at people, I'm never going to learn a lecture. My ADD is horrible. I can't remember shit. But you want a good Christmas party, I could plan one of those.
You know what? We've talked about that before.
Yeah, you got to give everyone their job and let them run it.
You got to get it where you fit about it yet.
Yeah. Huh?
You're upset about the Christmas party because we're doing it in January. You've been complaining about it, but that's a whole story.
This Christmas party is actually right now.
Welcome to the Christmas party, Wes.
But no, I mean, it's how it is. Learn what you can, and get in where you fit in. Not everyone can be a lecturer.
No.
Not everyone could be a ritualist. Not everyone could do the floor work immaculately. You got to pick what you can do.
Everyone can matter.
Yeah, exactly.
Everyone can
I
matter,
think
and you
that's-
got to make that guy feel like he matters.
That's the thing that makes Masonry so amazing. Not only is there no blueprint to be a Mason, there's no blueprint for a successful lodge, because if there was, we'd all be successful.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
every lodge is its own
Exactly.
living, breathing organism.
That's
some
way
lodges,
different.
Some lodges are so squared away on rituals.
So you didn't go to my lodge when I was master, did you?
I fear anything that puts you in charge.
Lodges don't make Masons. Masons make Masons.
Exactly.
Yes, I agree with that.
Yep.
It's
I
like
agree with that.
I come from a building that's got 7 different lodges in it, and if you go to any one of those 7 lodges, and you're going to get a completely different Masonic experience. We're all doing the same thing.
Sure. Yeah.
All the words are the same, the floor work's the same,
Yeah.
but man, are we all doing it differently. And every one of those lodges has such a distinctly different personality.
We all know the words, or we all stumble through the words, but we all do it differently.
We all know the words until one of us opens our mouth, and the words have to come out. And then,
Right.
Yep.
Like over at when we were Azure, even Lagrange, now Azure Lagrange, we all vote on the minutes. Over at Raven, we just accept the minutes.
Yeah, I stopped.
I'm like,
I stopped
what?
doing that at Elmhurst. The 10 minutes of everybody looking around, going, "Who's going to make the motion this meeting?" I look out. Hey, any corrections? Accepted. Done. And everybody's
We
looking
don't have that
around
problem.
Like,
we have a
what?
couple young guys that like love to frickin' second everything, or bring up an
I
emotion.
can't stand the 10 minutes of looking around like, all right, who's going to make the pointless motion this week? It's like, no, accepted. Let's go. Move on.
The mistake I made was seconding the motion for reading the minutes, and Dar, our secretary, you know Dar, just looks over. Read the minutes, did you? I've never seconded the minutes if I didn't read them ever again.
That's funny.
Oh, that's funny. I'm glad. I love that he called you on that. That's a great moment.
We had a secretary that used to like. He used to love putting something stupid in the minutes.
He would
to see if
always
anybody
catch it.
Yeah, frickin'.
We did approve the minutes. I think that you had to wash all of our cars for a year. That was in the minutes.
Yeah.
Just saying, I got 2 cars out there. They're both pretty dirty.
I'm just saying, I wasn't there for that meeting.
All right, you know what? We're running out of time. We're gonna take another break, and we'll be back.
Ship boing, boing, boing.
And we're back. Thank you for sticking around. So, what?
I was mocking you.
No, that's all right. I mock you when you're not around anyway.
You should hear the things I say about you when you are around.
You should hear about the things Joe's here. I can't say that. We're trying to make this respectable for Grand Lodge.
Thank you.
Newly made master.
Shout out to me who made the show respectable. Are these questions?
Oh, you mean who actually put them out and sent it in the email?
Oh, you can copy and paste.
Yeah, I can copy and
Congratulations.
paste. Yeah, you can't
You
do
are
that. can you?
dangerously close to making innovations
I
in
am.
podcasts.
Yoshi, I hate when mom and dad fight.
Yoshi, it's funny. The 2 least funny members have an opinion.
Gosh, we're not going to see your face in this episode at all, are we?
That's okay.
Hey, he had a good run.
So, charities. What is our biggest charity in Grand Lodge for Illinois?
Our biggest charity in terms of usage is Imos, the Illinois Masonic Outreach Services Program, which of course is our program that was formed after the sale of the Masonic home in Sullivan. It is there to support our brethren and their widows in their times of need. That can range from one-time assistance for a furnace that may go out to monthly assistance for food, shelter, whatever it takes. There's also a disaster assistance for our membership who occasionally get hit by, unfortunately, hurricanes and tornadoes.
With all the snowbirds we have, that comes up every time there's something on the Gulf or something crazy.
Exactly.
We reach out hard.
So,
Like when cameras go out on a podcast?
Only if it's a good podcast, so no to you guys.
Wow, somebody's getting really edited out of this one.
It's going to be a real weird episode when we completely edit out the guests.
You're welcome to apply. I can't guarantee you'll get it, though. And then, of course, we have our Illinois Masonic Children's Assistance Program, IMCAP, which took over after the closing of the children's homes in LaGrange and Murfreesboro. And that its total focus, of course, is children of our membership. And we still have quite
Community,
a few.
tons.
We have a lot
the
of that,
campership program,
which is very
oh
good.
my God.
But more importantly, though, we still have a lot of those kids from our old homes.
Yeah.
We're still taking care of them, and some they're in college at this point, and we're still assisting them with tuition and housing and everything to get them through college.
Awesome.
Because that was our commitment when they were at the home.
Oh, yeah.
And it was our commitment to the
we
members.
usually see that
one or
through.
two at our lodge, right?
The home that was in, what was it, LaGrange?
LaGrange,
Because I used to live in countryside.
Okay.
I had passed by that area so many times, it's not even funny. I never knew that was there.
Yep.
I never knew about all of that
It was
back there.
kind of tucked away. And
Yeah.
we weren't really familiar with it.
Yeah.
It was a nice property.
Well, not only that, and then the actual, what was it?
The dyslexia center.
Yeah, the center which used to actually be the home. I never knew all
Well,
of
of course,
that.
that was.
Oh, that was
in the 1800s.
Yeah.
That was the actual orphanage.
Yeah, but
which
still,
which became a senior assisted living facility.
I mean, it's a huge building.
It was.
So.
All right, so the children's home, the closing of the children's home, the development of MCAP always was I don't want to say it was controversial, but I know from a Grand Lodge perspective, we were joking about town halls and someone always stand up and say something crazy. I guarantee in these upcoming town halls, someone's going to stand up and ask a question about the children's home because they just love to do it. However, this is one of those moments and where I'm truly proud to be an Illinois Mason and look at what our Grand Lodge can offer. Because the children's home, we loved it because we could point at it.
Exactly, it was tangible.
Yeah, where a lot of our things aren't. The reason the Shriners Children's Hospital, we could point at it.
Yep.
The program, we replaced it with MCAP. Not that the home didn't do amazing work, not that the kids there weren't amazing, but it was such a small scope.
It was.
The amount we've been able to open up, even working with the community, with lodges could donate to summer camps, to scout groups, to other things of that nature. But for everyone that didn't think that was wasn't super popular with it, what the Illinois Grand Lodge and all the great people you bring in from the outside to help run these, what they grew was so amazing. Every lodge got to give a $1,000 scholarship.
Yep.
Every lodge in the state got to give a $1,000 scholarship that they didn't have to put 1 cent towards.
That's correct.
And I could say that 9 more times and not even stop being impressed. And it's just that's right now all the Charities. It's my favorite. Who's the one lady who runs that one?
Gail Kilberry.
Yeah, Gail Kilberry. Yep. She is super smart. I love all the roadmap things we do. Or when we get all the 3 charities online.
Yep.
Man, but that one was so cool. And that was like what everyone was like, oh, they closed the home. Like, yeah, but then 2 years later, we had the best charity we've ever turned out they gave your lodge the most stuff, man. It's so cool. And IMSAP, too. All of them are really good.
IMSAP is the Illinois Masonic Students Assistance Program for the Prevention of Drug and Alcohol Abuse. Is its full title.
Wow. Wow. Are we going to be there soon?
And it's our least known. I mean, it's shocking that how few people know what it does. And it's not really just drug and alcohol abuse. It has grown to be a heck of a program. I mean, we teach educators through a professional company that we pay for. They teach educators how to look for everything from early intervention for drug and alcohol abuse in students to suicide prevention to teaching teachers how to deal with children who live in extreme poverty. It's when I was junior Grand Warden, as we progress through the line, we're assigned charities to be a liaison/board member of. So the junior Grand Warden sits on IMSAP. The senior Grand Warden sits on Imos. The Deputy Grand Master sits on IMCAP.
I didn't know that.
Right now, I am obviously on Imos, but when I was on IMSAP, I went to these trainings because back then we were still doing in-person trainings. And I'll tell you, it's shocking the amount of children in this state that truly do live in extreme poverty and don't even, and their sole food for the day is school. And where I'm going with this is, though, this program, the specific class on poverty, is teaching these teachers to understand that, this may be where these kids are eating. This may be the only place these kids have warm water or can use pens and pencils to do homework. It's beyond sad. And I think SAP does so much more than our membership can ever understand to improve the lives of kids in this state. Not just Masons kids, but every child in every area, in every nook, every corner of Illinois. And to me, that is probably our best charity, and just nobody knows it.
And I humbly agree with you, and I'd like to encourage everyone at home, Illinois Mason or not, IL_MSAP on Instagram. They have a really good social media account that explains a lot of their programs and different schools and everything they go to. And yeah, this is what Masonry actually does. There's sadly no goats.
All of our charities can be reached through our Grand Lodge website of www.ilmason.org.
Yeah.
And there's links to everything with explanations. We do good.
Yeah.
We do a lot of good.
No, we do. And that's, again, like how we were talking about before, everyone wants to focus on the bad thing and not the good thing. I hope if anybody out there who's watching this, who's not a Freemason, who's got their minds already made up about what Freemasonry is, I hope you listen to what we're saying. Whatever weird stuff you hear about what we do or whatever, it's not even close. It's not even true. What we're about is making good men better and helping our communities, helping the people of our communities. And that's one of the, if not the greatest thing about being a Freemason.
And, I do want to do a quick shout out to the Knights Templar. They did, John did bring it up when he was interviewed.
2 weeks ago.
2 weeks ago. That, they did team up with Imos, and it is helping members of the Knights Templar specifically, along with our Grand Lodge Imos program, helping those same brothers. So it's a great team up, it's a great collaboration, and it's just more proof of how much we can do when we stop doing appended bodies, Blue Lodge, the bad Grand Lodge guys, the good Grand Lodge guys, the bad Blue Lodge members, the good Blue Lodge members. When we're a fraternity and brothers, we do pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Speaking of Grand Lodge, though, and the Grand Commandery, and John, I'm looking. Oh no, I'm not looking at John because we filmed that 2 weeks ago.
Looking at John 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, he's not going to come on.
I know that's right too. My favorite thing is every when they do the check presentations to the Grand Master, the Templar always comes through with the biggest check, and I always love watching the guy walk out with his chapeau, just with his big grin because he knows he has the biggest check to hand out, and he's walking around with his big Publishers Clearinghouse check, and he's like, and I was like, oh man, I love this moment. Those things you can rely on, some smiling guy with a chapeau is going to hand over a big carnival check. I love that moment.
We've got to get as at Refreshment to do that for Grand Lodge. We got to get one of those big checks for like $5.
Well,
it's not the size of the donation; it's the heartfelt intent.
It'll be $1.25 once we pay for the big check.
Listen, dude,
After this episode, we're not going to be allowed in Grand Lodge.
We gotta at least be donate more than what the check is actually going to cost us to make. Okay.
No, it's going to be a total loss for everybody.
The check is worth $5, but it actually costs us $50 to make the big check.
And it's post dated. They'll cash that for a couple weeks.
And it's going to cost Grand Lodge like $12.50 to cash it. It's bad.
What happened? Your camera shut off. Oh, okay. As long as those are
one's
going.
looking
All
at Marty
right.
anyways.
It probably died. Don't worry about it. All right, John, Rich, come on in. Everyone, we're gonna do shout out and shouts out
Jump
right now.
in the time machine. Half of
Yeah,
this
jump in the
recorded
time
two-
machine. You already did that.
Back
Does
row
anybody
was
have
recorded 2 weeks ago.
Everybody, this is Worshipful Master Rich over at Azure LaGrange, and everybody remembers John Sansone, eminent
2 weeks
Grand
ago.
member.
Cameras are dropping like flies, boys.
Yeah, they are. So let's
You
get
know
this
what?
done.
No, if we
Hurry up because they're dying.
Shout out to the cameras.
to the cameras, and you know what? To brother and Sir Knight Bob Dole, may you rest in peace.
Bob Dole!
Bob Dole!
Cheers.
All right.
Go to
Thank you,
lodge,
guys.
you filthy animals.
You made me come back 2 weeks later for this.
Yeah. All right, everyone, that's our show. Thank you for watching. If you haven't figured it out, you're watching on YouTube. Follow us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and we also do the podcast and on everything else. Once again, thanks for watching, and we'll be back with more in the future.
Well, yeah, and I was going to say that with everything you get in trouble for online, maybe don't pledge your allegiance to Bob Dole.